Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Death by Disney podcast. My name is Adam, and I am on a mission to watch absolutely every Walt Disney film that's ever been made. And I'm a bit cold, that's why I got the blanket. Um, and today we're talking about 1995's Toy Story. And I'm about to say one of the most controversial things I've ever said on this podcast, which is my rating for Toy Story from 1995. I gave it a 6. Don't hurt me. I will tell you why I gave it a 6 in a moment, but on this podcast, I give you my review, I give you any kind of trivia that might be interesting, and then I give you a negative review and a positive review, and I interact with those. So let's start. Toy Story stars Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, and Don Rickles. A cowboy doll is profoundly jealous when a new spaceman action figure supplants him as the top toy in a boy's bedroom. When circumstances separate them from their owner, the duo have to put aside their differences to return to him. Alright, here's my review. Toy Story is definitely a monumental film. It's the first 3D CGI animated film. It has great voice acting from Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, and the characters of Woody and Buzz are very well defined. The conflict is set up quite nicely, and there's a satisfying story within the movie. There are moments that are genuinely terrifying for children and for adults. Another great thing about the film is the iconic song You've Got a Friend in Me. Randy Newman really excels at writing those kinds of songs. Having said all of that, and getting a mountain of praise out of the way for the movie, which it completely deserves, the film doesn't really hold up. The animation is very creepy. It is solidly in the uncanny valley. The toy characters are fine because they're toys, and you don't expect toys to look lifelike. In that sense, it was a great choice to kick off computer animation with a film about toys. But there are some human characters in the film, and they are horrifying. They look really, really creepy. They don't move naturally. The faultiness of the animation really brings it down for me, and it's kind of ironic because they needed to make the movie to push the technology forward, but the technology wasn't really at a point where it could make a satisfying movie. Yeah, so that's why I gave it 6, because it is monumental, but it just doesn't look great. It's not a great film uh, to look at, and that's my biggest problem. And I think that there are many films where they're just trying to adapt the technology, and maybe the technology isn't quite there yet. So I can't really think of any other examples because this is the perfect example of where they had to use the technology for the technology to advance, but it's early stages, you know. Okay, what did other people think about it? Let's start with the negative review. 1 out of 10. Horrible message. I was well prepared to like this movie on the basis of the art alone, and the art did not disappoint. However, I found much of the humor to be based on cruelty, and I was truly horrified by the overall message of the film. Lower your expectations for yourself, and everything will work out fine. It reminded me of The Breakfast Club, whose main theme seemed to be conform to the style of popular kids, and all your problems will dissipate. This is just so wrong. If you want to see really good computer animation that will amuse you, inspire your children to be good and strong and true, and which predates the shallow and uninspiring vehicle, check out the television series Reboot, now being run on Cartoon Network. This movie is only good for refreshing your mental catalog of toys you may have once owned, and that's from Sarzartful. or SARS Arts, from July 9th, 1999. So, 4 years earlier, the movie came out, and I think people still gave it this pass for looking really good and being like one of the first uh, animated features, 3D computer generated animated features. But I don't think that it's about lowering your standards. It's just about being, it's that conflict between being the old guy who's established and the new up and comer. And I think as Toy Story goes along, the story is going to be more and more profound. Actually, I think the next Toy Story, the Toy Story 2, the story is much better, and of course the animation gets better as well. So 1 out of 10, uh, and 1 out of 10, and you didn't like the story, so I would kind of argue with that rating. Okay, 10 out of 10. Simply the best animated film of them all. Disney used to be good, wholesome family entertainment that was not only clean but fun. Now, most everything they put out is outdated, postmodern trash that portrays all children as geniuses able to rule the world and all parents as evil minions trying to keep their children from having fun. Thank God for Pixar coming to existence. Starting with Toy Story in 1995, they made a great family film, a film that appeals to adult humor as well to children. They haven't failed since. They can do no wrong, it seems. And I pray it continues that way. Of all their great films, this is undoubtedly, in my mind, the best of them all. It is also arguably better than Disney, any animated film Disney ever did, including the classics of the 1940s and 50s. The premise is so clever and daring that it could go wrong in so many ways. It never does, though. And in a mere 82 minutes, it covers more information than many other 2 hour films. Tom Hanks and Tim Allen have become iconic in their roles as Woody and Buzz. The animation and dialogue is so good, it is as if they are really on screen arguing with one another. The supporting characters are also very good and funny. With animation, perhaps the most important aspect is the voice characters. Pixar has done a great job of not always going with a star to do the voices, but rather simply going with the one that fits the character best. Overall, Toy Story is superb filmmaking with a great script, wonderful voices, and animation that still impresses despite all the technological improvements. Thank you, Pixar. I'm truly grateful for for saving animated films. Okay, as a guy with a podcast which is dedicated to reviewing Disney films, why do you think I'm talking about Toy Story? It's not just because Pixar was completely bought out later by Disney. That's not the only reason. The reason is that Disney fronted the money so Pixar could produce Toy Story. Like, it was a collaboration. So to say that Pixar single-handedly saved animation is a lie. Because Disney, like, if Pixar did save animation, it's because Disney funded the project. So Disney saved animation. And saying that Toy Story is better than some of the classic Disney animated films are ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Like, just saying that makes me believe that you didn't actually watch any of those movies, because if you compare Pinocchio with this movie, Pinocchio has some problems. It's problematic in parts, but Pinocchio is a classic of animation. The animation is baroque. The details are so vivid in the background. If you compare that with Toy Story, Toy Story is basically like a child, well, a talented child, no doubt, but a child coloring with crayons. That's what Toy Story looks like. And Pinocchio looks like somebody who is a master drawing something. And that was so expensive that they couldn't do it anymore. But by not being able to do it, they made other classic movies like 101 Dalmatians is a good example. Cinderella is another good example. So they have great animated films. And Toy Story is monumental and it couldn't have happened without Disney. And it did take animation in a direction which, you know, has good things and has bad things, but the movie itself is not great. It's not great to look at. The story is okay, but the story gets better in other uh, installments in this franchise. So that's my rant about Toy Story. Um, let's see. I do agree that Tom Hanks and Tim Allen are iconic. Um, but they also talk about how, you know, Pixar does a good job of choosing people who are not famous to be the voice actors. When exactly did they do that? Because around this time, not just Pixar, but all animated films seem to have some famous person connected to it. And it's kind of a shame because there are great voice actors. So I think like it is kind of a modern thing where a famous actor needs to be the voice actor as well. And I think that the most famous movie actually that started that was Toy Story. So it's a bit ironic to say like, Pixar chooses no-name actors because, Tom Hanks was one of the biggest film stars in the world when he made this, and Tim Allen was one of the biggest TV stars in the world when, maybe not in the world, but in America for sure, when they made this. So I would disagree with that assessment completely. But tell me what you think. Do you like Toy Story? Do you like other installments of it better? Please like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye bye.